Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dane Thornton. And yes, I'm waking up a little late today, so apologies if I'm not all dressed up ready to go, but we're going to get the show going anyways. Hey, welcome to Lions Talk Live. If you're new to the channel, you haven't done it before, but you've always thought about it, don't be afraid to hit subscribe. Be a part of the members, be a part of the Duke crew, be a part of all the things that is Lions Talk Live. Making our push here if we can to get to 4,900. That's right. We are less than 200 subs away from hitting 5,000. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Also, if you're enjoying the video, you're enjoying the content, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and let us know how much you liked the show. All right, one last thing before we get going, as most of you probably are aware, but if not, just a friendly reminder, outside of being a coach, scout, and YouTuber, I do real estate, have for over 30 years. I've flipped homes, I've managed homes, I've rented homes, I've sold homes, I've done all the above. Either way, in the state of Michigan, anywhere in the state of Michigan, I can give you some assistance. Just give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. If you're outside of the state of Michigan and still want some advice, some thoughts, maybe help point you in the right direction, where to go with some things, don't be afraid to give me a call. I know a number of you guys already have, but I always love to give out this little reminder because, to be honest, hey, man, I got to pay bills too. So, all right, let's get moving on. Coming off a huge win on Saturday, I kind of figured that this would be a week where a lot of fans would be engaged. Hey, some people are already starting to go on vacations from work or whatever have you. So they got a little bit more free time. They're sitting around relaxing, and they're talking about Detroit Lions in the playoffs. But yes, that's where we're at as a fan base. How much things have changed in just a short amount of time. All right, let's get this going with Detroit. Matt, good morning, Coach. I'm rooting for Seattle to beat Philly. I'd rather clinch next Sunday beating the Vikings. Thoughts on tonight's game? You know, really, tonight's the game I think we were talking about last week. A bunch of you guys brought it up. This is a no-win, no-lose situation for Detroit. Either scenario can help Detroit. Obviously, Philly loses and then Detroit beats the Cowboys in a couple weeks and wins out, we're probably going to be the number 2 seed. Maybe some chance of the number 1 seed, but you could say this, that scenario, Philly losing, can help Detroit. To your point, Seattle winning can also help Detroit. Where you want to go with this, boy, I'll leave that up to everybody in the comments section. You guys let me know, but to me, I'm just going to sit back because either way is going to help us potentially in one way or another. All right, mile marker, what do you got? 10-4, one pride. Yes, it's a heck of a day to be a Detroit Lions fan. Hard to believe Matt Patricia was brought in to take us to the promised land so many seasons ago that, Jim Caldwell wasn't good enough. All that we had to endure with Matt Patricia and that regime, bringing in the Patriots way. And I think we'd all like to say right now, we'd like to put that in the rearview mirror and never look back to that again because that was ugly. But yes, 10-4, and man, the future is looking pretty bright for this franchise. All right, Bit Lady, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you're feeling better. So let me know how you're doing, but hopefully you're doing much better and in a better way. All right, Bit Lady, by the way, a little under the radar announcement, but Ragnow had surgery on his meniscus and returned back to play within 2 weeks, according to his brother. Frank is a Warrior. Yes, he is. In regards to the meniscus, from what I was told is he just had to have part of it shaved. They'll do a little bit more deeper dive repair on it in the off season. But yeah, either way, no matter what the scenario is, that's a pretty good that's a pretty good injury to try to recoup from in a short amount of time. Thankfully, it wasn't a full tear or anything like that. I'm pretty sure that's what MCDC was referring to when they said, hey, we thought it was one thing and then got better news, because I think initially everybody was thinking potentially it was a complete tear of the meniscus that would have required surgery, and he would have been out. All right, a Bit Lady, mile marker. Thanks for the kind words. Yesterday, I tried to capture all, but my brain and fingers were not in sync. Hopefully, you're doing well. Yeah, hopefully you are as well, because I know you're fighting in there a little bit. All right, Southwest, that was AG's best game by far. D looked faster. Let's see if he can repeat, I think, this type of performance going forward. I would go to 5 to 6 DBs rushing 5 to 6 players on 3rd and long. Yeah, and I think that's what he was trying to do with so many of the corner blitzes or safety blitzes, is just get more speed and out wider from the offensive line. That's a real problem for tackles to get out there and guard somebody who's got a 4 or 5 yard separation from them, because they got to cover a lot of ground to get somebody who's coming in like a missile. So I agree with you on that, Southwest. All right, mile marker. Hey, Bit Lady, hope you are feeling a bit better today. Yeah, I'm sure everybody in the comment section is hoping you're doing better. All right, Southwest Bit Lady, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, hopefully the COVID days got you 2 down. Southwest, if that's the team I just saw against Denver play like that in the playoffs, woo! Watch out. Everyone will be on notice. Yes, we will be using some of our speed to our advantage. Kurt, we will end up playing the Rams at Ford Field, I bet. It is looking like a growing possibility, isn't it? Matt Stafford, hey, he was drafted to bring in a playoff victory to Ford Field. Let's hope it's not at the expense of the Detroit Lions, because that would be like a Star Wars thing, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, chosen one, supposed to bring balance to the Force. He brings it by destroying everybody, both sides. So let's hope that, Matt Stafford helps provide us with a win if we play him, not gets a win in Ford Field himself. All right, Southwest Bit Lady, that game against the Broncos was important for the Lions, not just because they won, but also how they won. It shows that they have the talent to make a serious run in the postseason. Yeah. And to your point, and others in recent weeks, we need to get more athleticism on the field, and that's what we did on Saturday night. John, what do you got? Kurt, wouldn't that be something? Yeah, Stafford coming in. Yeah, it sounds like it's a real possibility. You look at the Rams' schedule, you look at how things are lining up. It is definitely a possibility that Stafford could be coming here with the LA Rams. All right, Bit Lady, mile marker, Southwest. Thanks, guys. Be safe. Viruses are going around everywhere. Yes, they are. And I can tell you, yeah, you hear a lot of people sniffling and all that stuff nowadays. It is that time of year. Kurt, what do you got? Southwest, what do you got? Kurt, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think it's in the cards, Rams and Lions at Ford Field, and they've been playing very good football right now. McVay has done a good job this season. Yeah, and he has a great job this season. You could say this: they do have some weapons that would not be ideal for Detroit to face. Some of their defense, though, would also be, I think, favorable for us to face. There'd be a lot of emotions in that game. Let's not try to kid ourselves. You would have Goff, wanting to justify himself. Stafford, probably a lot of mixed emotions. Be fair, from his standpoint, none of this coaching staff and maybe just a couple of players, Decker, Ragnow, and such, would even have been here when he was here. So the vast majority of the team, other than they know who he is, they never played with him. So there'd be that side of it too. All right, Dave, what do you got? Greetings and salutations all. How much better can our defense become if everyone returns? Ooh, that's a good question. Well, you just look at the depth in the secondary. Gardner Johnson, I don't think he's going to start the moment he returns to the field for us. But is he going to help add depth, energy, and such like that? Do you now have more components to move around on the potential D? Houston, when he does return, gets you just another person who can get to the quarterback. So now you can rotate him, Irvin, Pascal, Hutchinson a little bit more. Keep them all a little bit fresher. That's also true. Aleem McNeil, him and Bugs up there. That's a formidable tackle rotation or parts out there. So all these guys, they come back. These are going to be huge for us. All right, Miller, what do you got? All I want for Christmas is Detroit Goff to remain on the field the rest of this season. Yeah, I think you and about every Lions fan out there would be okay with last weekend's performance from Goff becoming the norm. All right, Southwest, credit to the Lions offense for responding to the Broncos touchdown in the third quarter. Agreed, with a touchdown on their own. That was very important. Yeah, it kept things, status quo, kept the Broncos constantly having to try to eat up yards in a hurry, because at that point, the clock was starting to already tick against them. So you're right. That was a huge response. Kept momentum away from the Broncos, or overly away. All right, Jess, what do you got? Greetings and salutations all. Same to you. Detroit, Matt, what do you got? Do you think CJ plays this week or comes back at the Dallas game? I think he'll return to the field and such as far as practice this week. I don't think he'll play this weekend. It could happen, definitely. I'm not going to rule it out. My long-term prediction, as you guys know, was that he'd be back for the Cowboys game, and that looks like it's going to hold up so far. All right, Bansky, what do you? Who's ready to clinch a playoff spot today? I think everybody. Everybody who's a Lions fan is like, hey, let's get this done. First time in 6 seasons, or whatever it's been since they've been to the playoffs, and this will be nice. This this will be a real big another stepping stone for this franchise under Brad Holmes and MCDC. Hey, you look back just to where they were just under 3 years ago, and to where they are now. Man, that's a massive improvement in a short amount of time. Bruce, any news on Houston? Nothing new that I haven't reported in the last few weeks. His people have cleared him. It's just getting the Detroit medical staff to give their final blessings on him, and then he'll be back on the field. All right, Southwest Detroit Matt, I would not rush him back. Give him a week or so to get acclimated. I'm thinking the Dallas game. Yeah, me too, Southwest. I think that's probably the more likely scenario. Who knows? I mean, it could happen this weekend, but I think even if it did happen against Minnesota this weekend, he'd probably be more playing a backup role. So maybe just give him someone a spell here and there. All right, Nathan, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Can't wait till we get our injured players back. Yeah, and it's slowly starting to happen, to matriculate. So yeah, they're coming back. All right, Debbie, what do you got? Southwest Line, agree? Okay. Bit Lady, by the way, NFL fine system parlay is quite messy. Saints get $45K fine for Saint. Excuse me, gets a $45K for his block on Irvin. Gets $7K for his lane pasting and pile driver of car. Not that I hope Irvin gets more, but come on, such a gap. Yeah, between the two hits, yeah. But that's the NFL and the fine system. To your point, yeah, it is what it is, man. Players know it going in. Unfortunately for St. Brown, I mean, I gotta imagine that was about all of his game check for that particular game, and that's the part I think they need to calculate a little bit different. I mean, you take 97% of somebody's game check. I mean, that's pretty impactful. I wonder how they handle that for tax purposes. All right, Trey, what do you got? Southwest, I think that's what Dan said a month or so ago. CJ would return versus Cowboys. Yeah, that's what I called out. Yeah, 100%. All right, Southwest Bit Lady agreement with you on the NFL fine system. It seems quite subjective and arbitrary based on an example that you provided. It does. Garland, yes, he did against Cowboys. Yes, he did. Okay. Mile Marker, would you say a bit about defensive players, Dorsey and Vildor? Where have they been? Another team under the radar. Really, who are they? So Vildor was on the Bears for a while. Then he hit free agency. Dorsey, man, I don't remember where we got him, but he signed him, I want to say, earlier in the season. Another free agent. And, both of them are man players. They play some zone. What I can tell you more is probably in-depthly about Vildor. The dude's pretty fluid. So watching him on film, he gets in and out of his cuts and very quickly. He can turn his hips and keep up receivers pretty well. I'm not going to say he's a lead or anything like that, but I like Jerry Jacobs as a corner. I do. The problem with him is sort of like what's been our problem with our pass rush. It's just a lack of overall athleticism. And I'm not just talking 40-yard dash speed or anything. I'm talking the ability to turn hips, knees, and ankles and get in and out of cuts to keep up with people who are getting in and out of cuts very quickly. That's where I think Jacobs suffers. I think Jacobs is a sound NFL number 3 or 4 depth corner who's, unfortunately for him, I get we're all trying to say he's terrible and everything. I don't think he's terrible at all. I just think he's not a number 1 or 2 corner. And let's be fair, most people in the NFL are not capable of playing at the number 1 or 2 corner spot. He was simply put into that situation because of injuries on the Detroit Lions. Give him some credit where credit is due. He's done okay, but we also get every offensive coordinator in this league is going to go after him because he's not a true top flight corner. When it comes to Dorsey and Vildor, they're backups. They're probably never going to be number 1 or 2 corners themselves, but they are vastly better at man-to-man coverage than what Jerry Jacobs is. And I think that's where the difference is. You see their athleticism and their fluidness when they're moving around out there. So that allows Aaron Glenn to return to more of the type of defense he was using and implementing a season ago, where this year he's been really hamstrung in what he could do because of the personnel available to him. So here's my quick take on it. All right, Alec, good morning, Coach. Remember what we said the key to Saturday's game versus Denver was, question marks, run the ball 25 plus times. They ran it 28 times. The team's success goes through the run game. It does, very much so. And Denver, they just, you can see, I know we all talked about it that, hey, they're not great against stopping the run. And you can see that play out on the field. They don't have the personnel for it. They're not built for that. Their defense, while it's made a monumental leap forward since that Miami debacle earlier in the season, they have some strengths, they have some weaknesses, and stopping the run is not among their strengths. All right, which was good for us, by the way. Michael, what do you got? Watched the Denver game last night. The Bills had success running the ball. Yeah, and that's where I think we can hit them too, especially in the A gaps, some in the C gaps. So basically, between the tackle and what do I want to say, tight end, you're going to probably see a lot of our runs go through that way, but also between the guard and center. I think that's where you can really gash them. Watch them a couple times this year. That seems to be among their weaknesses. I can say this: you don't want to get in third longs against them. They can get after a quarterback, but with a strong running game, I think we can help prevent some of that. And to your point, that's exactly what the Bills had success against them with. All right, Southwest, what do you got? Sometimes I wonder about the Lions coaches in assessing which players should play. It took them a while to get the right combination out there on defense. Better late than never, I guess. And just, it happens. I think a lot of it is you go into the season, and I have no justification for saying the Southwest. It's just my opinion. They went in the season, saying, hey, we're going to do this and this with these guys. Those plans obviously changed due to injuries or whatever issues, underperformance. And you've got to build up a lot of faith in some of these newer guys. Plus, you got to get them acclimated. You might not know as much about like a Vildor or a Dorsey because you acquired them in season, and it takes a little while for you to see what their strengths and weaknesses are. How can we mask the weaknesses? How can we, augment the strengths? So to your point, though, yeah, better late than never, man. I'm just glad at this point we still got them and that they're seem to be trending the right direction. All right, Brother Ken, hey, greetings, Coach Dan and fam. I have a question. As a coach, do you think Sean Payton was out of line by going off on Russell Wilson as hard as he did? Without knowing the full reason why, I'd say it's tough to do that all the time. I mean, I get after my players a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to, point my finger down and yell and scream in that manner. The other thing I would say is, from what I was told, this is not the first time he's done that to Russell Wilson. So these are adults and these are grown men out there. So I'll give credit for Russell Wilson remaining as calm and what's the words I want to look for? But anyways, containing his composure the way he did, because he didn't really seem to react to it too badly one way or the other. Sean Payton, though, I mean, we all have our moments, especially as a coach in a heated game, whatever, something can, set you off. Going off to that extent, probably not ideal as a coach. You could risk losing a player or players, especially at that level. All right, Hooker time. Gibbs has over 1,000 all-purpose yards. Yeah, he's looking like he was probably a pretty good pick. And I get we're all probably to the end of time going to say, hey, we could have drafted this dude or that dude. But I'm just going to say this. Look at the top 4 picks of the Detroit Lions. It's really hard. I mean, you can be nitpicky. Sure, you can say, hey, we could have had this guy or that guy. But what we can say is the 4 people we've taken have all panned out. There's no busts. Broderick Martin, wait to see. Give me another year to watch what this regime does with him. If he comes on at all, then I'd say this is just a mammothly successful draft. Scoresdale may never be a starting offensive lineman in the NFL, but you know what? For a 5th-round pick, he's probably going to be a respectable backup. Broderick Martin, if he pans out to where he's just hopefully a starter at some point, if not just a real sound rotational piece, then this draft is just, slam dunk, home run, what do you want to say, grand slam. They nailed it out of the park. Gibbs, as you pointed out, overtime, over 1,000 purpose yards. He's going to probably end up with vastly more than that by the end of the season. Laporta, he's a NFL history statistician's machine because he is just putting out, all-time record left and right. It seems like every week he's breaking some sort of historical 100-year-old record or setting a mark that's never been even thought about before a tight end, a rookie tight end before. Ryan Branch, I mean, he might not be putting up stats left and right, but I'm going to say this: we struck gold there. And Jack Campbell, while he's had his distractors, he's kind of taking a while to kind of grow. You can see the growth and development out of him. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be an all pro or get a gold jacket or anything like that, but you know what? He's looking pretty sound as a rookie, and I gotta imagine that's only going to continue to improve in future seasons. So yeah, this draft pretty good. All right, K-Pop. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Same to you. Hopefully you're having a do one. Southwest, I noticed they've run St. Brown in motion quite a bit. Imagine if they did that with JMO and Gibbs. Opposing defenses would not have would have a lot of eye candy to deal with. Wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, I would say that you continue to, or at least Saturday, you saw a lot of changes to some of the offensive schemes. I was just happy to see some crossing routes, to be honest. But hey, maybe they are evolving, maybe they are improving, and they're giving more and more information for other teams to have to digest on the fly, watching us. So we'll see where it goes, but it does seem like both the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are showing some signs of growth. Dennis, we got good morning. Good morning to you too. Hooker time. What Christmas gift this win would be? A 30-year drought over with a win. Yeah, what a Christmas gift it would be. And imagine if we get a playoff win or 2 or 3. I mean, hey, it is crazy times to be a Detroit Lions fan that we're talking about all these different factors. And you know what? It's not fairyland. It's not magical dust. It's not playing Madden. Hey, the Lions won the Super Bowl at Madden or whatever. This is real life, and the fact that these things are a possibility just goes to show just how much this has changed. All right, Aaron, we got good evening from Australia. The Lions can have 2 players rushing over 1,000 yards, Montgomery and Gibbs, and 2 players receiving over 1,000 yards, St. Brown and Laporta. Yeah, I did notice that. It was Saturday night, and I know the broadcast mentioned it. Now that's an offense. You got 2 dudes rushing for over 1,000, 2 guys with over 1,000 yards receiving. I mean, it just goes to show just how much this team has changed, evolved, and the fact that all these guys are young. I mean, Montgomery's the oldest kid out of the group. The rest of them are still on their rookie contracts. It's crazy, and they're going to be under the rookie contracts for a couple more seasons. All right, Southwest. That's as well as they have protected Goff all season. Makes a difference for any quarterback to feel like he's not going to get hit every time. Yeah, and what a difference when you allow somebody to get comfortable. We've talked about the problems with the Detroit Lions defense is that every quarterback's going 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 seconds without getting hit and being able to throw. How comfortable do you think that quarterback feels? Conversely, we all bury Goff, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else when he's getting hit every 2, 3, 4 seconds. Pressure on quarterbacks, it makes a huge difference. And you got to get to the other team's quarterback while you have to absolutely protect your own quarterback. All right, Motown Mitch, what do you got? The Hooker time, as stated, it's clipboard carrying time. Hey, with Teddy Bridgewater obviously retiring after the season, I think we all get it. Hooker's spot next year, and it'll be a battle. I'm guessing it'll be a battle. I'm guessing next off season, OTAs and then preseason for the starting spot. And I do think that that's part of Brad Holmes' theory and not resigning Goff. Hey, Goff had a heck of a performance. I think Goff's going to be set up if the line protects him for a lot more strong performances going forward. I do also think it's possible that the Detroit Lions are going to say, hey, we got 1 more year with you under contract. Beyond that, let's a bunch of prove-it deals. Could we franchise him for 2 seasons after that, meaning we have him without a long-term contract for 3 more seasons? That's also a possibility. But let's see what happens, one thing at a time. Maybe they resign him to a long-term, lifetime contract, 5-year contract. Who knows? But I do think there is some growing thoughts behind, hey, we're going to keep him for a maximum of 3 years just by franchising him each of the 2 available franchise years. All right, JP, let's win in Minneapolis. I'll take that. Take the division, get it done with. I like the way you're thinking, man. Get it done, moving on, and keeping this train going forward. Mainsky, what do you got? Aaron Smith, that would be crazy. It would be crazy. Mile marker, Aaron Smith, I like the storyline. Just a heck of an offensive season. It hasn't been for the Detroit Lions. David, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, coach from Chesapeake, Virginia. How about those Lions? How about them Lions, man? I got to imagine everybody. We're all feeling tense and stuff going into Saturday's game. We're all feeling like, man, could the train be going off the tracks? Let's be honest, Lions fans, we've seen it all happen before. And you know what? We got something probably most of us didn't expect. We got not just a good performance, but we got a dominant performance out of the offense, out of the defense. No missed extra points from the special teams. It's hard to really take fault with anything they did on Saturday night. All right, Darren, we got morning Dew family. I'm telling you this now. When we get to the playoffs, if the offense plays like that, we are going to be the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. We have too many weapons. The key is just to keep Goff clean. Yeah, you're not wrong. You keep him up. You keep him without getting hit all the time. He'll pick apart an NFL defense. You let him get hit, pressure within a second and a half, missed blocks, and all of a sudden Goff's getting slammed left and right. Yeah, he's like the vast majority of other NFL quarterbacks. He's going to get pretty shaken. He's going to get pretty rattled, and he's going to be hearing footsteps before the footsteps even gets there. All right, Brother Ken, Southwest Line, as a former safety, having St. Brown and JMO in motion would give me fits. Yeah, I would say that's probably true for a lot of the secondary or just defensive players in the NFL. So maybe we will see more of that. I'm not disagreeing. We should probably do it more. Matthew Perry, what do you got? What did we just see? Lions back to form or just a good game? Goff comfortable, team really clicks. Yeah, I think all of it's true. I think this is hopefully what we've been clamoring for months now. More aggression and assertiveness out of both sides of the Lions team. And, they defense came out ready to play, going after the quarterback, hitting them from different spots, angles, making them wonder where the blitz is coming from. That's good stuff. It confuses quarterbacks. It confuses receivers where the hot routes are, and it confuses, more importantly, the offensive line. Offensively, instead of having everybody just jump on short route, overplaying those things, we came out with authority. We came out saying, hey, we are going to push the ball down the field. You are going to have to change your coverages to make up for us. We're not going to try to go around what you're going to do. You're going to have to adjust to us. I loved it. It was fun watching, not just because of the results, but it was also just because, like, I've been, and everybody in this chat's been talking about forever. You can't be so predictable. And at least on Saturday night, they weren't. I'm hoping this is the norm going forward. All right, Hooker time. Laporta is only 10 receptions from becoming the best rookie TE to the best rookie tight end season in NFL history. Yeah, I was surprised to see that Mike Ditka is still the number one tight end all time as far as rookie season. 12 touchdown catches, whatever it was, 1,070 yards, something like that. Laporta could get all those stats this year, especially thanks to the 3 touchdown performance on Saturday night. So it's crazy to think we traded TJ Hockenson in essence for Laporta. Might have saved 18 mil, 17 mil, whatever it is, a season for the next 3 or 4 years, and got better at that position. That's the crazy thing. No disrespect for TJ Hockenson. The only thing I really didn't like about him is the way he got in and out of routes. You watched his footwork. I was like, man, this guy just is not sound. He's so, 1 minute it's this, 1 minute it's that. There's just no consistency. And that's why, I did a deep dive video into why I thought they traded him. And I do believe that was a big part of it. He just would lead to turnovers, at least in his time in Detroit. So, but to your point, Hooker time, Laporta, man, he's next level. TJ Hockenson's up here. Laporta is superseding him already as a rookie. Mr. Natch, what do you got? Healthy O-line is paramount to Lions' success. What's the injury status? I don't think we'll have one until probably, there could be some news later today, but I don't think we'll have a real deep dive one until Wednesday when players return, and we'll see who's out on the field, any kind of updates from the coaching staff on that. All right, Brother Ken, go Seahawks. All right, well, there's our first determination. Who are you guys all rooting for tonight? Brother Ken says he's leading the way to the promised land, and the 12th man, he's going for the Seahawks. All right, Derwin, we got it. And I'm not going to lie. I think Aaron Glenn did a great job making an adjustments, blitzing more, and not just letting the QB sit back there to be comfortable. Yeah, I'm with you. If we'd been doing this all year, I think most of us probably would still found something to complain about. But anyway, I think we've probably been overall a lot happier with things just because it wasn't so conservative. I mean, he went after him and he got guys out there. We could say some of the changes started in earnest against the Bears the second time. We saw Iffy hop in. You saw a little bit more of Vildor out on the field, maybe a little bit of Dorsey, but obviously that was a segue into what we saw Saturday night where those three played a ton more. You saw Jalen Reese-Maybin, who's been out there more and more and more, get out there. And I mean, I'm just surprised it took this long in the season to get that guy out there. He started, well, I shouldn't say start, but he got on the field more and more and more against the Saints, then the Bears, and then again against the Broncos. But that guy's, I mean, he's a missile, man. He goes after it. He plays hard every snap. That's why I like him. Plus, he adds another layer of athleticism to that defense. Key, what do you got? We already have a playoff spot clinch. Yeah, well, I think we will after tonight for sure, man. Southwest, what do you got? Hooker may have a stronger arm than Goff, but succeeding in the NFL is more than that. It's about timing, throwing into narrow windows at times, going through progressions, anticipation success. Yeah, I agree with all of that. There's a lot of dudes with rockets for arms that don't make it in the NFL because they can't read a D or they can't hit those spots. So that will be the big question in the offseason. The coaching staff, I mean, they're already doing it to a certain degree during his 21-day window. But what they do going forward beyond this, what do they see in OTAs or in the preseason? That's going to be the big test, I think, for Hendon Hooker going forward next year. All right, we got Mr. Ed. What do you got? Good morning, Coach. What a great weekend of football for the Lions. Still not talking draft. Yeah, you're 100% right. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't think you could have drawn up the perfect scenario for the weekend for the Detroit Lions and had it go vastly different than what did happen this particular weekend. I mean, man, it's been impressive to see how much did go our way this past weekend. Obviously it all starts with the top. You got to win. Otherwise, the other stuff doesn't matter as much. But Green Bay lost. Chicago, hey, I guess you're just rooting against them because you want to hate on them. But they lost. Minnesota lost. Yeah, it was just Dallas got beat. 49ers for at least a little bit gave us some thinking that maybe the Cardinals can pull it out. But that went away further in the game. All right, what do you got? Overtime. Coach, you say you can save us $1 on buying a house. Can you make me $1 if you sell me a house? Yes, I can. Yeah, I can probably make you a few bucks. So yeah, if you're looking to sell a house, let me know. I guess a simple answer to that, depending on where you're at in the country, they're going to charge you 6 to 8% for real estate commissions. If it's people I work with, I try to save them money. I try to get down significantly below that just because I enjoy what I do, just like I enjoy this channel, but I don't have to break somebody's bank to make that happen. I just kind of like the negotiating parts. It's just part of who I am, man. So give me a call, man, or shoot me a text, whatever works for you. All right, Dr. Troy. Yes, let the QB deal work itself out. Correct. We have a camp and preseason battle to see who our QB should be long term. Yeah, worry about that stuff next year. I'm just kind of throwing out some ideas on some ways that it's possible Brad Holmes could be looking into the situation. All right, Manscaped, Philly is doomed with Patricia. Yeah, I saw that they were going to turn to him to run the defense, and we'll see what shakes out, man. He could not run it here, but he couldn't run anything here. So, yeah, we'll see what works for Philly. Maybe they won't even make the playoffs. I'm just kidding. All right, Willard, a Rams loss and a Falcons loss, a Rams loss and a Buccaneers loss, a Falcons loss, a Rams loss, and a Packers loss. That's a good breakdown, man. Key, what do you got? Now look at Matt Patricia just got promoted to DC and Philly. Yeah, I just thought it was odd timing for that, man. But, I mean, they know their personnel and situation better than I do. All right, Southwest. There's a report out there that Matt Patricia will be calling the place for the Eagles. Also heard over the weekend that Slay is getting knee surgery. Interesting timing there. I mean, they've been struggling all season for the most part on defense. Multitude of reasons. Younger guys, they lost some players. We all get it. But I'm just surprised at this point in the season you're making the adjustment at defensive coordinator. Slay, I mean, hey, I think most Lions fans beloved this guy and wish him nothing but well. Unfortunately, Matt Patricia and him did not see eye to eye, and I thought it was kind of BS at the time. Doesn't matter though anymore. But Slay got shipped out of town. It's just I hope he recovers well because I wish that dude nothing but the best. But Philadelphia is starting to show some signs of concern in their team. Um, I'm not even sure if they'll win tonight, to be honest. They've got a lot of things going against them right now. All right, Dr. Drake. Hopefully, you're feeling better, feeling a bit lady better. See what I did there? Yes, I do. Now I do. Hope you do, bit lady, feel better. All right, Willard, what do you got? Ways Detroit clinches a Rams loss and a Falcons loss, a Rams loss and a Buccaneers loss, a Falcons loss, a Rams loss, and a Packers loss. We got a lot of that already. So let's see what happens. Going forward. Jerome, what do you got, morning coach? In your opinion, what makes a excellent player? We as much as you can all say this, that, the other thing. Let's be honest. The higher up in levels you go, you've got to have certain physical components. Now, that's not the end all be all, but I would say this: if you're working from behind already from a physical standpoint, you just really have to be great at everything else. So, if I was building a player, you don't have to be elite athleticism, size, and everything, but you at least want to be in the conversation for it. So, what I mean by that, just use this example. Do you want somebody who's 6'2" or 6'4"? If you get someone who's closer to 6'2" or around there roughly, that's a good start. If they're a little bit beyond that, that's even better. 40-yard dash. Does everybody have to run a 4.3? No. But can you get close to that? 4.35, 4.4. These are good spots to start with. Now, you want to look at their natural flexibility. How much can they bend and contort their body under duress, going in speed with problems facing them, somebody pushing on them, contact, whatever it is. That's a big one because that will, more often than not, give you an idea how often is this person going to get injured. If they naturally, without a lot of, going through repetitive motions from training staff or such, you can bend their body, contort their body, and readjust on the fly. That means that's somebody who's got good ligament movement, etc., joints, that's going to be able to take contact, hit, or alter their body abnormally and not be impacted by it. Now, for me, the reason why I get used in scouting a lot is you want to look at the emotional component. Who is this person internally? I can watch, a guy or girl, whatever it is, for about 10, 15 minutes to figure out their skill base and their athletic base. But it takes about an hour, hour and a half for me watching them, on the field, on the court or whatever, when I have to assess their emotional component. That's where you come into figuring out who somebody's going to be over a longer term projection. Are they going to be the type of person that can't handle adversity, can't handle the heat of the moment? Or are they somebody that's going to, grind for you? Are there somebody that takes their craft personal? So in the United States, for the most part, there's 4 different personality types that we use to assess. You got an alpha or driver personality. You have an amicable personality, analytical personality, and expressive personalities. And I'm going to tell you this: if you're going to talk about pro sports, you probably want somebody who's a bit of a driver, who's analytical. The other ones, hey, you can build around them, but you start getting into a little bit more questionable situations with how they're going to respond to stress, command decisions, and media scrutiny. That is a big part when assessing pro athletes, because if you're going to be a higher level pro athlete, say a quarterback or a receiver, point guard, or somebody who's going to be in the limelight a lot, those people are going to be dug into a lot. If you're talking offensive lineman or something like that, or defensive lineman, it's probably not as big a deal, but I think you guys get the gist of it. These all have to be calculated and evaluated. They do a far better job with the emotional aspect in most overseas markets than they do in the United States. But I would say in recent years, say like the last 3 or 4, that's begun to change a lot. More and more professional teams, even some colleges, when they go recruiting or drafting players, they are paying a lot of money for professionals to go in there and assess quietly without the athlete knowing they're being assessed. Who are you internally? We can all wear masks, socially for a little bit, especially in interviews. But if a good person is out there working with them, interviewing them, interrogating them, they're going to know how to get that mask down from that person and get that person to reveal who they truly are. So Long answer for you, Jerome, but there's the basis of it. All right, brother Ken, get the well bit lady. Say whatever happened to Jay Mommy. I haven't seen her in a while, so I hopefully she's doing well, but I have not seen Jay Mommy in some time. Uncles, what do you got? I expect the script writers are trying to put the Rams versus Lions in the playoffs. I gotta imagine you are correct that yeah, if they can make that happen, they will, because that would be a big ratings boost, I'm sure. Dr. Detroit, if we beat Dallas, look out, man. The bandwagon is going to be loaded nationally. Yeah, that would be full force at that point. But here's my question, Dr. Detroit. At that point, do we actually have a shot at the number 1 seed? Could it happen? I don't know, but I'd say if you beat the Cowboys, assuming you beat Minnesota this particular weekend, you have a real good chance at getting the number 2 seed. All right, Brett, what do you got? Good morning. Nice to be in the driver's seat turning this playoff run. Yeah, during this playoff run, 100%. All right, Hooker Time, Lamar Jackson is the greatest QB. Wow. All right, we'll go with that. All right, Southwest Lions focus needs to remain on repeating what they did on Saturday. They got their mojo back, and their coordinators actually outperformed their opponents. They did. You're 100% right there. And it's the first time I can think of where they clearly outcoached a veteran coaching staff. You want to talk about younger coaches evolving, developing. To me, that was a real good sign for this coaching staff and the players as a whole. But the fact that we were able to out-scheme them, that's has not been our norm. All right, one funky. I'm just happy with the Broncos didn't take away the middle of the field. And some of that, I think, is because the route concepts that Ben Johnson did come up with. The problem I had with it, at least if I was a Denver fan, is you let the same concept beat you on 3 different plays during the second quarter, where basically they ran somebody through coverage to bring somebody under coverage. And I was surprised. I mean, you're going to get hit. I don't care who you are. You're going to get hit with a play if it's schemed up right. And then obviously the players execute. But to allow the same concept setup happen 3 times in about an 8-minute span or whatever it was in the game, that's on the Broncos coaching staff and their defensive coordinator. That shouldn't happen in college or the pros. I mean, you should be able to adjust past that, or at least have a pretty good idea it's coming back again. With that also being said, though, there's a great saying that I've been waiting to use with the Detroit Lions. If somebody can't stop it, you keep running it. The Broncos could not stop it during that second quarter, and the Lions did what you should as a coach. You're struggling to stop us in something. We're not going to go on to another play. We're going to keep doing it until you can stop it. All right, Detroit, Southwest, I agree. It's about how you are playing, not just the record. So true. They need to keep this up. We can play with anyone if we play like that. I agree with that. You play aggressive. You play you put the more athletic dudes on the field, and now you help aid them by great coaching, I guess you could say. Hey, you don't always have to be the most skilled team, but if you're the more aggressive team, you can eliminate a lot of the better skilled players on the other team. Just a thought. All right, Dr. Trey. Funky, I know, right? It seems like they would have done that. Yes, I concur. Dr. Trey, I would love for us to put the Rams to bed. Man, I'll put it this way. If that happens and Jared Goff goes off that game, and the Lions win, obviously, Dan Campbell, I'm probably telling him after the game, you got a 48 window. Go hit every bar you want. Go do whatever you want to do. Go celebrate, because, man, he will be on cloud 9. And, I think everybody would be pretty happy for him. I don't know if he's that kind of cat or anything like that, but I'm going to say this. That's going to be a wild night for Jared Goff after the game if that all comes to fruition. I mean, he may be the happiest man alive at that point. And wish him well. All right, Southwest, Dr. Detroit, there is a team in the league that hasn't gone through there isn't a team in the league that hasn't gone through rough patches. I expect Dallas will bounce back. I'm just focused on how the Lions play these last 3 games going to the playoffs. Yeah, and, man, if we can get 2 out of these last 3, I don't think we'll get number 2, but it is possible as far as the seed. We win out, though. I think there's a real good possibility you are the number 3 seed. All right, Dr. Detroit, for sure, but there are tough patches and paper tires. Vikings last year looked good, but they fell out fast. I hope we have a solid base moving forward. I think we do. Yeah, I think for a foreseeable future, we're going to have a pretty good base for sure. All right, Matthew, what do you got? Morning, my brothers and sisters. Morning to you too. Hopefully, I'm going to do one. Southwest Dr. Detroit, the Broncos game gives them the blueprint for how they can compete with anybody. I would say, yeah, they're going to probably steal a lot from that. Hollow Blue, 99% chance of making the playoffs and 96% chance of winning the North. Keep rolling. Let's go. I agree. Jerome, morning, coach. Do you think we finally played a complete game? Man, that's about as complete a game as you could play. I know there were, some things in the defensively in the second half that we gave up, but give the other team some credit too. At some point they're professionals as well. They're going to scheme. They're going to try to devise. They're going to probably have some success. They do have some good weapons over there. But yes, for me, that was a complete win. All three phases. All right, Dr. Wright, right. But to Funky's point, if teams take away the middle, it could change things. So want to see the Dallas game and how we play. Don't have a win, just play it tough. Yeah, I'll go with that. Trump, blitz, baby, blitz. Yeah, Blitzburg. I'm all for it, man. One Funky. I don't need to clinch tonight. I'd rather see Philly lose than clinch next week against the Vikings. I'll take that. Southwest, I always wish the best for Matthew Stafford. He gave us the best year. He did. But I'll be rooting for Goff and the Lions for sure if we play the Rams. Yeah, and I have no distaste for Matt Stafford. He tried everything he could for years. It's not really on him. I think the Lions weren't successful. I think it was mismanagement. So go on from there. I'd rather clinch ACP. All right, we'll go with that for position also. Okay, I'll take that. Lions do or die morning crew. I heard Bugs interview last week and sound like it was him not following team rules. He said he needs to follow the line, toe the line. Yeah, and good for him for say that because most people would have skirted around it. All right, Dr. Detroit. Good info makes sense. Yeah, I also heard that Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts was downgraded questionable due to an illness. He was flying to Seattle separately. Yeah, I did see that report as well. So good for him for still going to the game. Good for him for also trying to protect as best he can his teammates by not being around them. Easy Lions. What do you got? Dorsey was a preseason player. Okay, I'm incorrect on that one. All right, Hork time. Apparently in 1943, the Giants and Redskins played each other in 3 straight weeks. They played the last 2 weeks and the first week in the playoffs. Giants won the first 2 games, but Redskins won the last. It happens, man. We'll deal with that if that happens. All right, Dr. Trey, yes, I hope he gets better in 6 weeks. Agreed. Super Bowl or bust. Now we're talking. Thank you for that one, Donkey Kong. Southwest. Lions do or die. Good info on the Bugs interview. It sounds like they've patched things up, which is good for him and the team. I agreed 100%. Dr. Detroit, Chicago, Vikings, Green Bay all lost this weekend. They did, and it was, like I said, almost a perfect weekend for the Lions. Dr. Detroit, Donkey, yes. Iffy, talk amongst yourselves. Iffy, man, playing well, man. Yeah, I'm glad he's out there because Trace Walker does some things well. Playing in coverage is not among them, in my opinion. Dr. Detroit, a couple of times don't make a All-Pro, but I like it. Yeah, he's trending in the right direction. Southwest, they need to extend Iffy. What a difference he made to that defense. He was outstanding. We'll see what they do, but yeah, he's playing well. General Brown, what we got? We need to bring in the same defensive intensity this week against a backup QB in Minnesota. Yeah, if you're not blitzing this dude, that's a real problem because you got to force him to make consistent reads under duress and make the correct reads. I'd be all over that kid. Mike, what do you got? Goff went into the Air Laporta Saturday night. Go Lions. Yes, he did. Air Laporta. Yes, that was a good one. Southwest Millens actually played very well against the Bengals. You can't give him time, not with their skill players. Yeah, and I'd say just keep after him, man. Keep him constantly having to read and guess where the hits are coming from. Dr. Trey, I want to see a Dallas tight game. All right, I'll go with that. Dominic, good morning from Texas. Lions, let's go Lions 13-4 to end the year. That would be an impressive season and a great end of the year. Donkey Kong, that was the best team win. J-Mo involved. Gibbs, Laporta, balling defense was aggressive. Just amazing game. Yeah, it's one that I'm guessing probably a few people will be watching on replay throughout the week. All right, Dr. Strike. Goff seems to go to the available receiver this week, unlike the last 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah, it's It's amazing how different he looked this week, didn't it? All right. The grit stopped Detroit. That's exactly how the D is going to have to play for us to make the Super Bowl, for us to be able to beat San Francisco, for us to be able to beat Baltimore in the Super Bowl. I like the way you are thinking, my friend. All right. Southwest, they should find, based on percentages of salary, that was quite a hit to given St. Brown's current salary. I would agree with that 100% because you basically just made that kid play for free. All right, the football gods have given us a gift and making Matt Patricia Philadelphia's defensive coordinator. That could be a level of truth to that. Dr. Tripe, man, I am one of those dudes, but ready to move on. I still do want an all-pro DT and a great cornerback on this team next season. Agreed. All right, Southwest, Dr. Troy, as a quarterback, it's important to feel like you're not going to get hit every time you drive back. I think that makes a difference, a big difference, 100%. Dr. Detroit, yeah, you are a pocket quarterback. Only have 3 left in the NFL. Most quarterbacks in the league can move to extend plays. I would agree with that also, the growing trend. Dr. Detroit, I just don't like the idea of one piece goes down, the whole house of cards falls. All right, I get that. All right, Southwest, what AG did in the Broncos game is something I've been talking about. Camouflage the deficiencies of your personnel. He did that camouflaging with blitzing. It made the quarterback uncomfortable. Yeah, we've been talking about that forever on here, man. Yeah, I agree with you. You got to get after the other quarterback. The other team's quarterback must go down. It must go down hard. All right, Jordan, good morning, Coach. 10-4 in North champions on the brink. Woo! I agree, man. It's right here. And versus 2 years ago, who would have guessed it? Southwest, Dr. Detroit, I've been an advocate of Goff, but I've also said he needs to be realistic about salary for extension because he does need a strong line more than other quarterbacks. I do 1,000% agree with that. If you're going to be Goff and you're going to be successful, you're going to have to make sure you got enough cap to take care of the guys in front of you. Dr. Detroit, 10-4 is really good spot. It's not like there are 16 games, there are 17. That's a huge difference. Agreed. Detroit, what do you got? Southwest, that's that is what it is for me. You can build a team paying a quarterback $45-50 million a year. Yeah, and Goff needs more of a team than other quarterbacks. Detroit, or keep one together. Yep, I agree. I like rookie QB deals, makes room for good pieces everywhere else. Yeah, and that is the growing trend in the NFL. Dr. Detroit, exactly. You want to keep your cord together. I think everybody needs to take less than top dollar. We'll see what happens, but that'll be an off-season thing. All right, the grit. Why the rule of thumb really should be you have to give your GM and head coach at least 3 years before even considering firing them. That's why Carolina will never be a contender. Yeah, they're a little overreactionary to your point. Blind Tom, what do you got? It is weird to have personal record with a 17-game season. I mean, hey, there's always going to be new records, man. All right, Dr. Troy, I mean, if Goff took 30 to 35 million a year for 3 to 4 years, I might do that, but 50 hard pass. Yeah, I think you could be onto something. What do you got? Plummer, what do you got? Goff, 1 year, and that's it. Yeah, that's what he's got left. 1 year left on his deal. Southwest, Dr. Detroit, yes. The grit at Bidley, I got an extra ticket for the final game at Minnesota if you're interested. Just saying. Oh, boy, here we go. Phil, dooby-dooby-doo. Good morning, Phil. How you doing, buddy? Hopefully you're doing well, man. Nice new guitar, by the way, man. Did you build that one? Let me know, man. Southwest line, Dr. Detroit. Let's see how he finished the season and postseason. Excuse me. Yes, I go with that. Dr. Detroit for sure. I am definitely want to see. Plummer, that was a complete game, the best game they have played. I would also agree with that. Dr. Detroit, I am just glad that he did that on Saturday night when make people believe in us again. Yeah, he balled out 1,000%. Southwest notes the snap count that Hutchinson played 59 snaps. That's still a lot of plays. I would like to scale him back to 45 to 50 by going more to a 3-3-5 or 4-3. 4D, I think you could do that. Yeah, I noticed that too. And I know we talked about it in the post-game show that they clearly gave him a little bit more rest. And I hope they keep doing that going to the playoffs because you get him going again, that's just another weapon out there. And that kid does need some more rest, in my opinion. Thomas, when the D plays aggressive, that is how they can play. Much rather lose if we get beat being aggressive. Yeah, I hate passive stuff, man. Dr. Troy, Dan, you did a great job explaining the Hockenson interception deal. That was a great breakdown. Yeah, that was a good one, and I enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. That's when I really get to just sit there and analyze video, and that's what I came up with. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to scroll through a year's worth of Lions Talk Live stuff. All right, Jay, hey, man, if the Lions get past the first round of the playoffs, I think we have a great opportunity with PepsiCo to do a promotion of the Hallelujah do. I like that, man. Yeah. I actually threw that. I have a friend who works for Pepsi, and they're not that high up or anything like that. But I said, hey, man, maybe this is your way to get a promotion. Threw it, nothing like that. But I think I might throw the Hallelujah do at them and see what they say. Nothing else. Maybe we can get something from Pepsi for everybody. I'm gonna steal that one, just so you know. I'm gonna steal that one. All right, Dr. Troy. I'm not jumping on Hutch this season because he didn't get any help and his motor needs 2 oil changes. Yeah. I think he's got burnt out a little bit, and hopefully these next few weeks, like Southwest was saying, just keep taking the snap count down on him, let him revigorate a little bit. Mike Jamo looked really hungry. Yeah, he's starting to come around, and that's just another weapon all the teams are going to have to worry about. Thomas, Aaron Glenn, did he wake up? I believe so. Been screaming for safety cornerback blitzes all year, and you got exactly what you asked for, my friend. Hopefully they keep doing it. Rucker, I want a clinch, but I want Seahawks to win. So, yeah, that's where everybody's at. Where do you go with tonight's game? Hey, maybe they can end it in a tie. How about that? Southwest, I think they have overused Hutchinson. Yeah, I agree. I think they have enough depth where they should be more mindful, not just using the players. They have with like Gibbs and Montgomery as an example. Yeah, give them a little bit more rest, a little bit more time to recover before the postseason. MJ, what do you got? Let's go Eagles. We 100% make the playoffs in a Marriott, not a team loss. Yeah, I'd go with that. Thomas, if he is turning out to be exactly what we needed in the back end, he made some great plays versus Denver. Yeah, and he is not a coverage liability. All right, Southwest Thomas Donner, AG had a great game. We will it be a one-time aberration, or can we repeat it? I think we can repeat it. Thomas, this past draft could turn out to be our best in 50 years. Yeah, they appear to have nailed the draft. All right, Thomas, Southwest Lion, exactly. One funky MJ. If you want to make it in on merit, then you want Philly to lose. And then next week we beat Minnesota. Bonus, the team will be able to celebrate in the locker room when they lock up of the playoffs. Yeah, they can celebrate totally after the game. Thomas, people keep thinking Goff doesn't have an arm. Neither did Montana. You got a good point there. Montana was not the most exceptional deep ball thrower. Trump, Philly is done. Yeah, they might be. They're in a bad spot. Dr. Troy Slay back to Detroit on a one-year deal? Maybe. Would you make him a safety? I'll pose that to you. Trump Slay is done. It could be. I know, man. Yeah, he's getting a little bit up there in age. All right, a couple more here. One funky. I don't put Goff in the same stratosphere as Joe. Goff played well after the first quarter when he looked nervous. Yeah, they had to calm down a little bit. George White has been, consistency and good performance. Correct. Thomas, of course, Goff looked nervous. He was getting hit and pressured early. There's some truth to that. Yeah, he did get some sacks early. One funky, Joe never looked nervous, and they were allowed to destroy quarterbacks back then. Yeah, that's why his back got so ate up, and that's also why they made the move to get Steve Young. They thought he was on borrowed time with his back injuries. All right, Dr. Detroit, Joe was cool in the pocket, and he would get destroyed. Yeah, he got lit up a lot. Thomas, what do you got? You're totally missing my point. You do have a great arm. You do not have to have a great arm to be a quarterback. Yeah, I get your thoughts on that, man. Yeah, there are a lot of other factors that come into play. Now, Detroit, whole issue I don't like if one piece goes down, the whole house of cards goes down. That's my issue. Yeah, if Goff gets hit early and often a lot, it becomes exponentially harder for him to perform at that level. JDC, good morning, all. Good morning to you, too. Thomas, timing and great route runners help a quarterback. Rice and Taylor, we don't have that yet as wide receivers. We're getting there, but not quite there yet. Dr. Troy, after 2 years, we don't have that. Okay. I want to be wrong. Dallas beats us by 7. It could happen. Let's see what we do to Dallas. Chad, if is everyone back on the Goff gobbling train? I would say probably more so today than they were a week ago, right? Dr. Troy, I want to be wrong too. Yeah, we all do, man. Just want to see what happens. Goblin, no goblin here, man. Chad, good. All right. Dr. Troy, just want to protect the ball and make his reads. Yep, I agree. Our mojo on D is being and staying aggressive. I would 1,000% agree with that. Dr. Trey, I'm happy with his play last week, MVP game. It was. I mean, he lit him up. Chad, yeah, he looked great last week. If only he could play like that while getting pressure. He's made some throws under pressure, but to your point, Chad, yeah, in recent weeks, not so much. And there could be a lot of different reasons for it, but anyway, he played great this past week. All right, guys, we're at an hour in, so I'm going to go make the run and get ready for the work day. If there is some breaking news later today, I'll hop on. But if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're over 4,800 now. Really like to try to get to 4,900 by kickoff next weekend. If you can do your part to make that happen, that'd be great. Closing in on 5,000, less than 200 away. To be honest, I never thought anything like this would ever happen, but it's here. And if you guys can help make that happen, that'd be great. Hit that thumbs up button. Enjoy your days. Go buy a stranger a Mountain Dew, especially if he's got spiky hair. So I bet you they would appreciate it. Enjoy your days, and we'll see everybody on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.